Model Railways Unlimited, technical guide for you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the workbench. A repair request has flooded in the shape of this lovely little Wrenn R1, and this comes from my friend Mike, or Night Ferry as he's known on YouTube, and he says that it probably needs remagnetizing. And we'll just try and turn power on and see what happens. Nothing at all. Okay, well, let's get inside and have a look what's going on. Now, with these Wrenn R1s, they actually have a plastic body, but they're also very simple to open. You have a screw in the chimney there. Just do that. Set that aside. Let's see, the body's already coming off quite easily. And then there's just a clip at the back here. So you just lift up and pull forward slightly. Let me just do it. There we go. I'll set the body to one side now. And here is the mechanism. As you can see, it's an open frame motor. Magnet's not even held in place, so yes, it's definitely going to need a remagnetize. What can I see? I can see, look, the wire that's going to the brush with the insulator is off. And oh blimey, it's stiff. I can't turn the arm. Oh yeah, just turn that armature by hand. So something's going on here. So it's a complete strip down for this little lady, and we'll be on the course ready to get her running again, I'm sure. Right, so there's two screws that hold the motors on these R1s in place. You can see them just coming through there, and underneath there are these two slotted screws. So I'll just take those out, and we should be able to take the motor out and see what's going on. Now, just for anyone contemplating working on their R1, you have the wire here that comes from the pickups against the wheels, goes through this inductor, part of the suppression circuitry, then this wire comes over and goes onto here, where the insulating sleeve is. The contact from the earth side or cold side of the chassis just comes straight through the chassis and into there. So we need to just desolder that wire that side as well. So we now have the motor and chassis separated. She is quite stiff, but that might just be solved by a bit of oil. And there is the motor unit. Let's see if she's any easier to turn. Oh yeah. So it was just the stiffness of the chassis that was holding her back. So we're going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to look, the magnet, that won't do it any good, but I'm sure we can fix that. And then we'll remagnetize it and see what we can find out. So I've taken the brushes out, and there's plenty of meat on them, that's all good. Now, in order to remagnetize, these magnets are very sensitive. If you take them out like that, they start losing power. It's actually not terrible as it is, but they start losing power. And when you remagnetize them, you have to do it inside the frame of the motor. So I need to take this bolt right out, and then we can put this in the remagnetizer successfully. So it appears to be a nut and a washer there, but I'll need to clean that with wet and dry anyway to improve the contact through to the bare arm, and then simply a bolt underneath. So I'm going to go and do that off camera and then let you see how far I've got. No particular dramas to that. Interesting how they do do it. They use a solder tag that sits on top of the motor, and because of the wire that goes through to the capacitor, which is the suppressor that goes across the top of the motor, it's all sort of one piece and it all stays together. That's quite a nice idea and should make it easier when it comes to cleaning it up. Just have to clean there and the top of the motor. So it's all apart, and now it's time to put it in the remagnetizer. First job is to find out which way round the motor goes, and I've discovered that the north pole is on the bottom. So if I turn the motor over, there the compass spins round to the south, so south and north. So now we know which way to put it in the remagnetizer without swapping it round. Right, the motor is in the remagnetizer, and it's not that dramatic as you've probably seen before. Few seconds press, job done. You can tell that because it's now really sticky. Right, jolly good, the north pole is still at the bottom there, and the south there. Well, that magnet's a lot stronger, I can tell. Now let's reassemble the motor. This is something interesting that wasn't expected. The front bearing has one big ball bearing in it. You can just see it peeping through there. It seems to be wedged solidly, and I've checked in there and it's got a good bearing surface, but it doesn't rotate. Normally Wrenn fitted smaller ball bearings. I don't know if that's a change aftermarket or whether that's how they did them, but anyway, it seems okay. So things that have been cleaned: top of the motor where it presses onto the solder tag and the bottom of the solder tag, the return side arm where it goes into the brush, the brushes, I've cleaned the carbon obviously, and also where the springs press, and so we're now ready to put it back together. So in beginning to reassemble, I've noticed that you have to cramp the nut and bolt up incredibly tightly. But even when you do, the magnet is still loose, which seems rather weird. So I'm going to have a think about that, but at the moment it sounds like I might need to put a piece of packing on top of the magnet. Let's have a think. So what I'm currently thinking of is using this washer, which is magnetic, so it's steel, as a packing piece, but it might be a bit too thick, and we'll nonetheless have to try, because you can't flex the poles down at all because it might upset the bearings. So to make this work, I'm going to have to file this flatter and also cut a slot out here for where it goes into the pole pieces. So a little bit of filing and vice work to do now. There we go. After much filing and reshaping, it is really quite thin now and should sit on top of the magnet under the pole piece, which should allow us to tighten it up and hold the magnet steady. And because this is magnetic itself, it won't damage the magnetic field for the motor. Let's try it. I changed the order in which the washers and solder tag were on top, so that the brush spring or brush arm spring sits directly on top of the pole pieces, which is more normal. The solder tag then sits on top of that, and then the nut cramps down on top of the solder tag. And the reason for this is that I found when I tightened the nut up sufficiently, it pulled the brush arm holder back out. So like this, it should stay in place, and it might even help with tightening up. So it's back fully assembled, and you can see there where that steel washer is cramped under the pole piece, and the magnet is now nice and solid. So the big test is arrived. So we'll just clip one of these onto the bottom there, and then go to that side of the choke there. Let's see if there's any life in her. Oh yeah. Don't sound too noisy either. There's a little bit of fore and aft movement against the bearing. It should keep it nice and steady. They can tick over all right. Look. That's very satisfying after all that. Good stuff. Let's move on to the chassis. Now the chassis was just bone dry of oil, and the wheels were very dirty, sort of built into the tread almost, and I had to use my least favourite tool, the fibre pencil. I hate the things, always get glass fibre bits in your skin, but now we have a nice free-ish running chassis, free for Wrenn anyway. It's got some good old thick pickups, as you can see against the backs of the wheels there, which is probably now the main friction. So let's reassemble and see if she'll run. Now strangely, when I came to refit the motor, I found that the worm was clamped down too tightly on the pinion and it just wouldn't move. It was locked up like it was when we first got it. So I've got these very fine little fibre washers that I'm going to put over the mounting points for the bolts to go through, and it should allow us to squeeze down just enough to make a good connection with the gear, but not too much so that it's bottoming out. Let's try it and see what happens. So here she is on the track, and I'm pleased to say that that has been absolutely spot on. Let's just make sure that she doesn't, no, not slipping. So it looks like Mike's R1, that's not this Mike's, although I do have one, but the other Mike, Night Ferry, his R1 rides the rails again. So let's just put the body back on and perhaps take her down to the layout for a final test. The only other thing I did was replace the old suppressor capacitor, which was starting to break down, and the new one is much smaller and there's not a lot of headroom in the body, so hopefully this should help. Final thoughts. A successful effort then with the R1 running rather well. I'm delighted with the outcome, and big thanks to Mike, Night Ferry, for trusting me with her. I'm puzzled by a few points, and in particular the alterations I had to make to get her to run. Quite why the worm and pinion were bottomed out I don't understand, and after all, looking at her wheels, she's had a good amount of use in the past. Also, why was the magnet so loose that I had to fit a shim to make it sit tight? Any thoughts on these points, anyone? Let me know in the comments below. Cheers for now.